Breaking news! Something unexpected has just fallen into the Dolphins' laps, and it could shake up everything we thought we knew about the 2025 season. We're talking about a potentially game-changing player, a former All-Pro suddenly available, and a desperate hole on the Dolphins roster that could finally be filled. But with Chris Grier still at the helm, will Miami act fast or let another golden opportunity slip away? Trust us, you'll want to hear this. I'll tell you all the details, but first make sure to hit the like button if you've been a Miami Dolphins fan for over 16 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. Now, I want to ask you something. On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate Mike McDaniel as Miami's coach? Comment below. Now let's get straight into it. The Dolphins may have been handed a rare opportunity on a silver platter, thanks to a surprise move by the Green Bay Packers. Jaire Alexander, a multi-time Pro Bowl and former All-Pro cornerback, was suddenly released. Let that sink in. One of the most talented corners in the NFL is now a free agent. And the Dolphins? They desperately need someone like him. With Jalen Ramsey effectively off the depth chart for 2025, Miami's cornerback situation has gone from shaky to outright disastrous. We're looking at a starting boundary duo of Storm Duck and Cam Smith. That's right, one undrafted player with flashes of potential but no consistency, and a second-round pick who has been a total letdown so far. Add to that Kader Kohou, who's solid but strictly a nickel guy because of his size, and you've got what may be the worst cornerback depth chart in the NFL. It's an ugly reality for a team with playoff ambitions. No one can sugarcoat this. Miami needs a CB1, and they need him now. Jaire Alexander fits that bill perfectly, but it's not all sunshine and palm trees. Alexander has a well-documented history of injuries that could make even the most optimistic fan think twice. He hasn't played a full season in years. We're talking serious injuries, knee, groin, back, and repeated shoulder issues. These aren't minor knocks. They're the kind that derail seasons and careers. Still, when healthy, this guy is elite. In just 7 games last year, he held opposing quarterbacks to a 56.7% completion rate, racked up multiple pass breakups, and even had a few picks. He can still play at a high level. The real question is, can you trust him to stay on the field? Now here's another curveball. Despite the mileage, Jaire is only 28 years old. It feels like he's been around forever, which makes it even more surprising that he's younger than Jalen Ramsey. Drafted in 2018, Alexander hit the ground running in Green Bay and quickly became a cornerstone of that defense. But the last few seasons have been marred by that injury cloud. And now, as a free agent, he'll have suitors, lots of them. The Buffalo Bills were already interested earlier this offseason. So were the Minnesota Vikings. You can bet more contenders will jump into the mix. And that creates a major roadblock for the Dolphins. Why? Because this team isn't a true Super Bowl contender right now. And if Alexander wants a ring, Miami might not be at the top of his list. So what can the Dolphins offer? Money. But then comes the biggest dilemma. Will Chris Grier, who still, inexplicably, has a job, be willing to put a competitive offer on the table for a player with that many injury red flags? Because let's be honest, this front office hasn't exactly made wise investments in the past. Giving Alexander a significant one-year deal could backfire, especially with other pressing needs like interior offensive line depth and the unresolved contract situation with tight end Jonnu Smith. Grier's track record gives fans every reason to be skeptical. He's let premium talent walk, mismanaged cap space, and missed badly on draft picks. Signing Jaire Alexander is a high-risk, high-reward gamble. But with the state of this secondary, the Dolphins might not have a choice. Even if they don't land Alexander, his release is sending shockwaves through the NFL that could still benefit Miami. Here's where it gets really interesting. Green Bay's secondary is now a complete mess. They need a top-tier corner just as badly as the Dolphins do. That desperation could push them into the trade market for, you guessed it, Jalen Ramsey. And that's where Miami gains some leverage. If the Packers, Rams, Falcons, or Cowboys start bidding for Ramsey, that opens up the market and potentially inflates the trade return. Suddenly, the Dolphins could be looking at better draft compensation or even a salary relief that unlocks more cap flexibility. That flexibility is huge. Miami currently sits on $13.6 million in cap space, but once a post-June 1st Ramsey trade goes through, that number jumps to $23 million. That's enough to land a solid veteran corner like Stephon Gilmore, Asante Samuel Jr., or even Rasul Douglas. And if one of those teams desperate for Jaire Alexander ends up signing him, that could leave Miami with a clearer path to one of these other viable targets. The dominoes are lining up, but time is short. NFL front offices typically go quiet between mid-June and early July, right after mini camps and before training camp kicks off. So if something's going to happen, whether it's signing Jaire Alexander or trading Jalen Ramsey, it needs to happen this week. Otherwise, we could be in for a long, uncertain wait until the next big move. So, Dolphins fans, what do you think? Should Miami take the gamble on Jaire Alexander despite his injury history? Because here's where it gets even more complicated. Miami doesn't just have one path forward. The ripple effect of Jaire Alexander's release is bigger than just a potential signing. It could serve as the tipping point for a much-needed shakeup in Miami's secondary. But the decisions made in the coming days will tell us everything about how serious this front office is about actually building a team that can contend. Because if they sit back and watch another top-tier corner slip away while clinging to guys like Cam Smith and Storm Duck as the answer, then let's be honest, they're not trying to win. They're trying to survive another year of mediocrity. Let's go back to Chris Grier for a moment. This is the same executive who let quality players walk and then scrambled in the bargain bin to patch up glaring holes. And now, he's being asked to make a decision on a high-profile, high-cost, injury-prone player when the roster is already stretched thin and full of holes. If Grier goes cheap again, Dolphins fans have every right to revolt. Because the data is clear. You cannot walk into an NFL season with the current CB room and expect to compete in the AFC, let alone make a playoff run. Think about the competition. The Dolphins will be facing Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, all quarterbacks who can absolutely carve up weak secondaries. Without a lockdown presence on the boundary, Miami's defense is going to be in survival mode. That's the nightmare scenario. And it's not even hypothetical, it's the reality staring this team in the face right now. But let's say Grier gets aggressive. Let's say he throws down a one-year deal to Jaire Alexander worth around $8 to $10 million, packed with incentives. Suddenly, you've got a CB1 who, if healthy, makes your defense respectable again. He gives you leadership. He gives you presence. He gives you someone to line up against Stephon Diggs, Garrett Wilson, and even Travis Kelce when needed. That changes everything. It doesn't fix the team's problems entirely, but it at least gives Vic Fangio's system a fighting chance to work. And if not Alexander, then someone else has to come in immediately. As mentioned, guys like Stephon Gilmore and Asante Samuel Jr. aren't just names on a list. They're starting caliber talents who can step into this defense and contribute right away. The only reason they're still on the market is because of the waiting game the league plays with post-June cuts and cap shuffling. But waiting is not an option for Miami anymore. The clock is ticking. If they're serious about flipping the narrative in 2025, if they're serious about giving Tua a real chance, if they're serious about not wasting another year of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's prime, then action must be taken now. Not tomorrow. Not in July. Right now. And let's be real, no one should be counting on Chris Grier to pull this off flawlessly. History tells us that much. But this could be one of those rare situations where the market hands you a golden opportunity, and all you have to do is not fumble it. Grier doesn't even need to get cute with the cap. That post-Ramsey trade boost gives Miami the flexibility to move aggressively without mortgaging the future. They can still pay Jonnu Smith. They can still shore up the O-line. They can still stay competitive in free agency while solving their biggest need. And don't overlook the psychological impact of a Jaire Alexander signing. This is a move that tells the locker room, we're going for it. We're not sitting back. We're not folding because of one injury or one bad season. We're here to compete. That kind of energy matters. It can elevate the entire defense. And it tells the fans something too, something they haven't heard in a while. That this team isn't just about surviving, it's about winning. But now, I want to hear from you. Should the Dolphins throw down the money and take a gamble on Jaire Alexander? Or should they wait for the Ramsey trade and pivot to one of the other corners on the market? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about what the smart move really is. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and don't forget to check out the videos on the screen now for more exclusive updates on your Miami Dolphins.